Hey everyone, welcome to our latest episode of Pop Review where we are covering Joker, and this time it is Todd Phillips' version of the acclaimed supervillain. All saw it. We all have different opinions, I think.
Yeah.
So what are you thinking about this? Because I saw it twice.
Well, I saw it one time.
Saw it once.
And I really enjoyed it. The first initial take, that's what I was thinking. That I sat there and I liked it and it was good and it was unexpected. After letting it stew a little bit, there were like a couple things that I feel like could have been done differently or better, but what did you guys think?
I mean, well, first before we get started, let's just know that this is a spoiler review, so
Yes.
we're going to be going deep into spoilers. So
Deep.
if you haven't seen it, please go watch it, then come back and want to hear our thoughts. But my initial thoughts were, I really enjoyed it. Like, if you've been watching the channel, you saw our trailer reviews on it. This has been something on my list for quite some time, and going in, I was expecting a lot, and I was not disappointed.
Yeah.
So
We
before
definitely had high
spoiling
hopes.
anything,
Yeah.
we've definitely had high hopes.
The
and
trailer made it look basically what the movie was, which was good.
Yeah,
And
which is what a trailer's supposed to do, give you a sneak peek.
I felt like I had lived like 500 lifetimes. Like after by the time I got out of that movie, did you have the same experience?
Honestly,
where
I
it's
was
just like,
it was weird.
I need a hug.
I felt like so much happened, but at the same time, it didn't feel like it felt like a lot happened, but I still was. It wasn't like I'm counting down the time or I'm looking at my watch. I'm like,
Oh,
this
yeah.
movie's so long. It was the perfect length,
Mm-hmm.
and also I remember during the entire movie, it wasn't. I was like on edge, and I was like, what's gonna happen next? And I was fully immersed and fully engrossed, but I also was like laughing at certain scenes. Like,
Oh, yeah.
like it was so dark, but in this like really uncomfortable, unsettling way that I just found so funny and refreshing. And it's so hard to do that with a creepy character, but you watch it and you're like, oh my god, this is pretty hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think there's points in the movie where it's supposed to be funny. You're supposed to laugh.
Yeah, or it's supposed to make you uncomfortable.
I think both.
I feel like the
think
theater kind of.
it can do both.
What just happened to me? I feel like the theater kind of like died with laughter at the scene with the little person, where we see like the
Oh my
chain.
God.
This is spoiler territory, by the way. We see
Yeah.
the chain on the door. We
Yeah.
don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Oh my god, my heart in that moment.
Or like one of the funniest moments for me is like when he's sitting outside and the detectives are questioning him and he goes to go back inside.
He
and
runs into the
the
door.
door.
Yeah.
Because that's happened to a lot of people. You don't think the door is there, but like so. I was that you're supposed to laugh at that point.
Mhm.
So I think the movie does a great job of like, oh, this is, I don't know how I'm supposed to feel right now, and then they drop a joke in there, and then it kind of lightens it up, and then you're supposed to feel bad again.
But my heart was like breaking, like literally breaking.
Yeah.
During so many of the scenes where you cannot help but empathize with this person, even though he's doing these terrible things, because we see this crazy backstory, and we also don't know like what's real and what's not real. So
Yep.
we're constantly dealing with the duality of reality versus someone else's version of the truth.
Yeah.
And it's so confusing. And what I love about this version of Joker is that it was so left open to interpretation.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think you are supposed to be sort of aligned with him. It's like his point of view almost in a way. But kind of like you said, because he's kind of mentally ill, there are some moments where it's like, actually, I don't know what version of reality this is clearly his version of reality.
Yeah.
And there's a completely different thing happening objectively. Like, for example, like this girlfriend that he apparently thinks he has that just
Did you see that coming?
not exactly.
I was blindsided.
You mean like the
completely.
twist?
Yeah, did you see that?
I mean-
Because a lot of people did.
I saw it come on because it didn't make any sense. It's like they run into each other in the hallway. They have that weird interaction. For her, it was nothing. For him, it was everything.
Yeah.
And the fact that once, like, we'll talk about the killing scene in the subway in a little bit. But then after that, like him just like kind of bursting into her apartment and making out with her, like that didn't seem real. The fact that she
No.
was there, her daughter was never there again. Is like just didn't make any sense. It's like for that to have worked, something would have to been wrong with her
Yeah.
too.
Like why is she at
And-
the comedy club? Where's her daughter?
Yeah, like no, but just not even like just for it to happen
Babysitter.
so quickly
Yeah.
made no sense. So the fact that it was just like all in his head was like, yep, that makes sense.
Yeah, I didn't want to assume anything. Like, I didn't want to see, like, oh, yeah, she's definitely not real, because, you kind of want to see how the movie plays
out,
And,
yeah.
honestly, that was one of the things that I didn't like about the film, is how I wish that he did have someone that he had some kind of connection with, even if it wasn't romantic, even if it was just maybe the lady down the hall who says hi. Like, and in his mind, that was important, and I wish it was a little bit more important for us, too, because it would help, like, kind of ground him, and you can kind of see how far he goes in the other direction if you have, like, this straight man, almost, in the story, and I felt like that was her.
Yeah.
But then she turned out not to be, like, real, so to speak, so it did feel a little bit... I felt a little toyed with.
But we also know, I feel like it shows so much about his character and what he wants, is the fact that any time he's in his dream state of mind, where we know he's, like, coming out of that, it's always revolving around the theme of wanting validation or wanting to be loved. So, like, the first time he goes into this reverie, it's, like, on the Murray Franklin show, right? And he just has this, like, whole thing play out in his mind where he's called down to the front of the stage, and Murray Franklin looks him in the eye and is like, you know what, I would give up all of this just to have a son like you.
Yeah.
And he comes out of it, and you're just, like, devastated. You're like, oh my god, this is what this kid wants, is he wants to be loved, he wants to be validated, he also wants to feel like a contributing member to society, and it's, like, reflected in all of these daydreams where even when he's thinking about the girl, he just wants to be loved. Like, the scenes where she's not really with him, but she's holding
She's just
his
there.
hand at the hospital, and then you realize that's not real, that's in his head. He wants that support, and he wants that love, and if he wants it so badly, it means he's really not getting it from his mom.
Oh, no.
Even though she seems like a sweet lady,
No,
but
she's broken.
we also don't know, like, if she was ever abusive to him in his childhood, or if that was from the guy that she was with. We don't know all of the facts. What we know is that he was potentially tied to a radiator and suffered brain injuries as a result. And we still don't know, like, what documents have been forged and what haven't. So there's so much left over to
we can only go.
interpretation.
Well, we can only go by really what the movie tells us. So it tells us that the boyfriend did abuse him and her.
Yes, we
so
know that for
that
sure.
we know. We don't
we
know
saw
for
the
sure
scars.
if who his dad is. We don't know for sure that the movie implies it could be Thomas Wayne.
I feel
I
like
hope,
it is.
I feel like that would be great.
But I mean,
That'd be such a fun twist where, like, him and
but
Batman are, like, stepbrothers.
But the way they set it up, it doesn't. It could be one way or the other, and it wouldn't really change the movie for me if he was his dad or wasn't, because I just love the idea that it's out there. I love that it didn't answer it specifically.
Yeah.
So, like, it did, but it didn't. He
Yeah.
said no, but we're like, yeah, that I kind of don't know if that's true or not. So I love that it's out there. We'll never really get a full answer, and I hope we never do.
They really painted was Robert Wayne?
Thomas Wayne.
Thomas
Robert.
Wayne. TW.
Sure. Whatever.
As it says on the postcard.
T-dubs.
T-dubs.
They really painted him as, like, this nasty, like,
He's a
elitist,
douche.
like, I know, yeah, so
that's one of the
but
reasons
hey,
I like it, because in
So it would
other
make
iterations
sense.
he's like this pillar of Gotham. So like when he gets killed, it's like, oh my god, like, what are we gonna do, because the pillar of Gotham is now gone. Like, that's how he's usually always portrayed. In this sense, he's kind of that way, but then there's this dirty underbelly of him where he's like, you know, like, oh, these people are clowns and they get what they deserve, like how dare, like an elitist type.
Yeah.
So it's like him getting killed is like, oh, almost like you're getting what you deserve.
Yeah, which is a really interesting angle.
Which is a great angle to take with Thomas Wayne.
We've seen that murder scene a couple of times portrayed
We'll get
in
to
cinema, and we've never really seen it, like, with this context before. Like the context of, like, yeah, you dick, you die, you die, Mr. Wayne.
This is me just playing devil's advocate. If you guys had kids and someone stuck their fingers in your kid's mouth and, like, brought it up in the creepiest way possible, and then beat the shit out of your, like, butler, you'd kind of be like, whoa.
That's not why he's an asshole.
I know.
That is not why he's an asshole.
Like,
but still, like, just put
like,
it that
that bathroom scene would have happened with or without him meeting Bruce Wayne anyway. Like, his reaction to him would have been the exact same way.
But he did say, stay away from my kid.
No, I know, that's just an extra layer on top, but his reaction to Arthur would have been exactly the same if that's the first time they've ever interacted, so to speak.
It's obvious that the whole estate has been warned about this Arthur Fleck character, and we don't know if it's like, oh, beware because he's crazy, or beware because Thomas Wayne, like, said, never, we don't want this lady in our lives. Like, we don't know what
or
the
he actually has a secret.
Yes.
Like, we cannot let them,
don't know.
because I have an illegitimate child and no one can know.
Because here's the thing, like, his mom,
Yeah.
like, even though his mom wasn't fully there, like, there's been talk about like, oh, like why would this girl still have love for someone who was abusive? But it's like there was actually a scene in the movie.
Who says that?
Like a lot of critics.
Have they never actually
said,
had like
yes.
a human?
I'm like it's like Stockholm syndrome. But
yeah, exactly.
But here's the thing, like. There was this scene in the movie where obviously there are the adoption papers, but there's also the records that he gets from the hospital when Arthur Fleck is just like running and he grabs the paper and your heart is racing. You're like, what's gonna happen?
What's the truth?
And he's looking at it, and when I watched it a second time, I was like trying to read the letters on it, and it said LOBOT, and then it stopped, and I was like, oh, okay, that's obviously gonna spell lobotomy. Which means that the mom clearly had some sort of lobotomy, and if she did have a lobotomy performed, that would damage her prefrontal cortex and also mess up her memory to the point where she might not be able to like have really great, short-term memory, but she only has this image of Thomas Wayne being an amazing person and completely forgetting the part about
yeah, maybe she was raped.
Yeah, we don't know, but it definitely said lobotomy. It said L-O-B-O-T. There's no other word in the dictionary that starts with L-O-B-O-T. That's it.
Yep, nope.
So
I'll get back to you on that.
Those are the facts. She had a lobotomy. That's what we know. And that's what they did to women back then.
They did, yeah.
Let's refer back to One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. That's how they treated people with mental illness.
It's like, oh, you're crazy.
But you could also do that to someone who didn't have mental illness if you're in a position of power and you pay someone off to do it.
Yeah,
because there is such a huge power imbalance in this movie, and like I said, this is a movie of duality. We have so many different things at odds with each other, and we have the very rich, the top 1%ers, and the very poor.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that is one underlying theme in the movie, is like how our society treats the poor, how our society treats people with mental illness and disabilities, and then also like what's life like for the 1%ers. So I just feel like there are so many relevant themes here.
Well, I want to talk a little bit about the themes too, because one of the things that irked me a little bit about the film was there were so many competing themes that I couldn't latch on to any one of them. And I mean, the one that I did end up latching onto was just kind of like dealing with mental illness and how the system is sort of built for it to fail for you. And that's kind of what I took out of it. But like you said, there are so many different competing themes that like the 1% versus the... And then they actually opened the film talking about there's these news reports about how there's garbage everywhere and there's super rats and all that stuff, and it kind of never really came back. Like it's super cats. It was supposed to be kind of like a metaphor for the streets are hard out there, but it also felt like a half-baked thematic
disagree.
Through line.
But he does get the crap beaten out of him in the very beginning of the movie. Like, he's dancing like a clown, and this group of teenagers takes his sign, steals it, and then it just conveniently snaps in half like that giant sign, and they knock him out. And it's like the movie is just showing his decline into the Joker, and how like every moment where he tries to be nice or he tries to be good or he tries to be kind, he is never positively reinforced for that behavior, and we see it time and time again.
I feel like he might be a Cancer. Thoughts? I think Arthur Fleck is definitely a Cancer, because I saw a lot of myself in there. I'm just saying.
No, don't bring Cancer as a bad name.
But I think what you're that theme though is part of the city at a tipping point. It's like they're on strike. The city is going is in dire needs. It's almost like how, so I'm from New York. It just felt like New York to me, by the way. Like if you lived in New York in that time period, which is supposed to be 1981, the streets are dirty, it's grimy, like there's filth everywhere. That's how New York was back then. Mm-hmm. So the idea of like there being a garbage strike, and there's a big divide between the 1% and the poor. The city is at a boiling point, and the strike is just adding on top of that. Mm-hmm. So the city is ready for something like this to tip it over the edge. Like the Joker came around. He came around at the exact right time. If this would have happened at a different point in time, the city would have reacted completely differently.
That's true, but that's also why it feels a little convenient. Like there's kind of like that hand of God kind of feeling to it, where it's like he doesn't really do anything. It's just things happening to him, and he doesn't really make a choice for himself, because by the end he's off of his medication, and so like can he really actually make a choice.
Not
that's
even off at
informed.
the end. He stops taking it.
Well, yeah, no,
midway
but by
through.
the end,
Oh,
it's gotten out of his system enough where
Mm-hmm.
you know it's like. So it did feel a little bit to me like things are just kind of happening, and it did feel convenient that the city is in this state. But then again, I guess maybe it could kind of be looked at as a cyclical issue. I don't know. These are like small gripes that I have. By
It was
the
like
way.
a perfect storm. Like I said, I just all those things happening at once combined for the reaction that we got. Like I said,
Yeah,
if this would have happened without the garbage strike, the city would not have reacted the same way.
No, exactly, and so it was a little convenient in terms of like building who the Joker was because his environment is what is shaping him.
It's not one thing. It's like
Mhm.
it's a multitude of things that have caused this. It's the fact that he's never positively validated for any of his great characteristics when he actually has positive intentions and wants to make people smile. And he always says, my mom told me my purpose is to bring joy and laughter to the world, and that's what I want to do. And every time, like, you know, it just shows how society treats people who have mental illness and also people who are different. Like, we see how the mom on the bus from the very beginning is like, stop bothering my son.
I was so mad at her.
I was frustrated, but at the same time, like, you wouldn't, you know, want someone like weird on a bus talking to your son, but you don't know like what he has, and he hands her the card saying like he has a condition that makes him laugh uncontrollably, and he seems like he's physically in pain when this is happening. It's just one thing after another.
Okay.
I have a few notes about that though.
I think he wants to stop, but he can't. It's like
So hold on. That actually is a real condition.
It
Yeah.
is.
And you either go from like laughing uncontrollably to crying uncontrollably. It could be either. But also, let's not forget, this story is told from his point of view. It's very possible that he was actually being really inappropriate with that woman's child, and we just didn't see that because that's not how he sees it.
Right.
So like,
and he's an unreliable narrator.
Exactly, he's an unreliable narrator. So that's why, like, thinking about it after watching it, it's kind of like, what actually is real? Maybe he does have that condition, but maybe what if he doesn't?
But
like,
it's not
maybe...
always told from his point of view, because remember when we figure out that, you know, his girlfriend isn't really his girlfriend, like, that's being told from, like, an objective perspective in a way. Now we're, like, telling the story from, like, an omniscient narrator who kind of like knows everything going on in the story.
Yeah, I
and
feel
we
like
don't
that's
even
the
know,
only
like,
time though.
yeah.
Like at least like
but
that's
but
when
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's like, were there other
just don't know.
times there that like we kind of backed out of that and it was told from someone else's perspective? Because even in the flashback scenes where we see a young Peggy Fleck, like whose point of view is that? Is that Peggy Fleck's point of view, or is that like a very reliable narrator?
I didn't really need to see
point
that.
of view?
I
feel like we did need to see that she was a pretty attractive young woman. And that I feel like we needed to get that.
No,
yeah,
just the
like
fact
we
that
did.
it like her claims could be true,
Yeah.
and like just to see like the balance of it, like it's a possibility, and it adds more to that possibility because to see the flashback. Yeah, I agree. So I like the fact that we saw that.
I bought it anyway. It didn't matter. Like, I didn't need to go back in time and see, like, oh, wow, she was so attractive. She might have actually had sex with Thomas Wayne. Like, I didn't need to... Yeah. I didn't need to see that in order to think that way.
But it needs to be believable, you know? Like,
I believed it. I believed it before seeing that scene. Because, like, this is a world where shit happens. And it you know, like, no one's sure what's going to happen next.
And when she's in the bathroom and Arthur Fleck is, like, just banging on the door, like, is this true? What did you do? And she comes up with the reasoning and says, you know what? Like, Thomas Wayne didn't want to be together for appearances, you know, because of like your condition. That actually sounds really legitimate and believable. It doesn't sound like
she tells herself.
It doesn't sound like something crazy that she made up, because she could make up something crazy and say, no, Thomas Wayne loves us, no, Thomas Wayne this, but she says a perfectly legitimate reason why someone like him wouldn't want to do something for appearances. Keep in mind, this is a guy who's in the public eye, who's running for office later on, like years later.
I just think it comes back to we just don't know. And they present it in such a way that it could be viable.
Either one.
Yeah, and I like the fact that we don't know. And we probably will never know. And you can have this, we can talk about this for years and never get a complete 100% straight answer. And that's one of the reasons why I love this movie. And the fact that I really don't want it to tie into anything else going forward. Yeah. Because some movies are just great on their own. And I love the fact that you don't get 100% a straight answer. Like, straight answers are fine, but I love the fact that the movie gives you the ability to then say, well, this could be true, or that could be true, or none of it's true.
But that's what's so great. Is like, at least looking back at like The Dark Knight, where Heath Ledger's Joker tells 3 different stories as to how he became the Joker.
Yeah.
So it kind of fits into that whole, like, what is the truth? And we don't know. And maybe, like, none of this is the truth. Maybe it's all the truth.
Maybe it's what people are saying. He's still in the hospital. He's still in that observation.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't like that theory, by the way. That really annoys me.
Doesn't make
That's
any
like
sense.
Lost. That's like, like, oh, they were never, spoiler alert, they were never on the island.
Now, if you came with the theory that he's telling her the story of what happened from his point of view, I would buy that. Mm-hmm. The fact that he's been in, like, the story's him telling her that, like, in one of their sessions, that I can get. But if you think none of this really ever happened and he's just imagining in his head, that's dumb. That doesn't make any sense. Because then what would happen with the last scene? He literally kills that woman at the very end. So why would he have done that? If none of that was real.
Maybe that was
kill which woman?
He killed that woman at the end.
Which woman?
The woman in the hospital. He kills her.
Woman in the hospital.
The psychiatrist he's talking to after he gets caught, he kills that woman.
Are you saying because there were blood footprints on the floor?
Yes, and they're chasing him afterwards. Yes, he killed her. She's dead.
I completely missed that.
Oh, sorry. Well, there you go.
I completely missed that. But why did she look so different in the last scene than in
No, those are 2 different women.
Can you cut this out in post? I was so confused.
Those are 2 different, not the same woman he was talking to.
I was like, what's happening?
I don't remember. I only saw it the one time, so I'm like...
I was like, what's happening? Why is she so young?
There's 2 different women.
I know, but I thought the movie, I think I was reading so much into it that I was like, oh, they're like taking the first person and then they're like replacing her with like a younger version.
No, that's another woman.
That's what I thought.
And I thank God it wasn't Harley Quinn, because I was like, please do not make her Harley Quinn. And then it didn't.
Did we see her name tag? We don't know if it's Harley Quinn or not.
Well, that's great. I'm okay with it. But if it said Harley Quinn, I would have been like, oh God, no. Don't want her to be. Yeah, but he kills her. She's dead. The fact that the bloody footprints and the fact that they're chasing him.
I know that, but I don't know why I didn't interpret it that way. I was like, oh.
How did he get so much blood on his shoes?
Because
he's
barefoot.
Did you realize that when he
on his feet? How did he get so much blood on his feet?
It was a violent kill, probably.
But did you realize that when he was walking?
You don't have to kill anybody with. You can just do it with your bare hands.
Yeah, so only his feet are bloody.
You're like missing a point. Do you know when he was walking and it was like blood print, blood print, blood print, blood print, no blood print. Blood print, blood print, blood print, blood print. Did you notice that?
I don't know if I
did notice that it was weird.
That was one step that was off.
Because I was watching it and I was like, this is too on the nose. Like, is he really just walking in blood because he killed someone or what?
I thought
that could also be
walking in blood was that it's symbolic from all the people he killed earlier in the movie.
No,
who knows? We don't
did
know
he
what's
kill his
real.
Imaginary girlfriend, because we did see the siren lights.
Maybe that was the blood,
room.
the stuff that wasn't bloody because he didn't kill her.
That's what that's actually a really good fan theory. Oh my god.
No.
Wait.
I don't remember seeing it the same that way, but the fact that she's dead.
We don't know what's real.
Not necessarily. Because here's the thing. And he didn't kill the little person because it's the only person who showed him love. And in his mind, the imaginary girlfriend was the only person who showed him love in whatever weird,
she didn't show him anything.
way.
She showed him disgust. No, because when they actually did meet, when he broke in,
but he doesn't know that. In his mind, she's
still like,
oh, thank you for being there for me.
And she shows some compassion. Is there someone we can call? Your name's Arthur, right? Is there anything we can do? She totally softens up. So maybe he's...
And it's not like he snaps out of it like, oh crap, I invented that you were my girlfriend. He's still in that mode when he's in her bedroom.
Oh, he is so creepy.
He didn't snap out of it, you know? He's still like thinking like, oh, this is my girlfriend.
His character is so humanized in this movie.
Absolutely.
And that's what I love, is that how they do that. They're like, you know, in every other portrayal of the Joker, he's like some maniacal laughing clown who's just like creepy, and I don't want to say one-dimensional, but sometimes kind of
Arthur is creepy though.
Dimensional. But this is a different portrayal where he's a little creepy, but he has so many redeemable qualities. Mm-hmm. He definitely does.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think that's really left open to interpretation. I
and
think
that's what makes an interesting villain, though, because like you get to see part of yourself into a villain.
What is so redeemable about him?
We know that he has a good heart in the sense that he's taking care of his mom, he's bathing her, he's doing.
He wants to work for money.
Yes,
he wants to make people smile.
He goes to the kids' place.
He wants to be on his meds because he wants to be normal. He wants to be a functioning, like you said, member of society.
Right.
He wants to be on his medication. You know,
but
he wants to be a normal person.
But remember, he's on his bed when he killed those 3 guys.
He was defending himself, and the gun.
It was defense. It was absolutely defense.
He took it too far.
Yes.
In the beginning, what started out as self-defense turned into a shooting rampage because you do not give someone a gun who has mental illness.
Oh, I agree with that.
Do that. And whoever gave him the gun, the guy that he later ends up stabbing to death, I genuinely feel had a reason to do it, and it wasn't for self-defense. In my opinion, this is my personal opinion, I think the gun was tied to other things, other really terrible things.
Yes.
And that's why he wanted to get the blood off of his hands
Absolutely.
and have it in the hands of someone who would be likely to commit those things.
Exactly.
Because
So it's like, so when they do the forensics work on, this guy shot somebody, he also shot 15 other people, this is their guy, and then his coworker gets away scot-free.
No, I
picked that up too.
Definitely thought that.
What I got from it is like, I don't like Arthur, I'm going to give him a gun, he's going to do something stupid with it, he's going to get himself fired, which is exactly what he did.
No, because of the gritty underground and how everyone's wrapped up in these, gangsta kind of.
Remember, this is the 80s, there was no like forensic, I'm going to tie this bullet to the...
That's what he was thinking though. In his head, he gave the gun.
None of that stuff existed back then. I just think
forensics, of course it did. Blood splatter tests and
not to that extent.
They had serial numbers on the bullets.
Yeah, but I really just think he just didn't like the boss said. None of the guys liked you. That's why he gave him the gun in the first place.
If that's the case, then I mean that's not very good writing, first of all, because that's just like making
a minor character alter the course of the entire movie?
For no real reason. It's like, what are the chances that this person is so evil? Just like, I don't like this guy. He's weird. Here, I'm gonna get him into trouble by giving him a gun. I feel like there's something deeper than that, and if it's not, then it's a poorly.
But there's a. We're kind of alluded to that. They don't like him. He's saying like they make you feel. I don't think so. There's a backstory that we don't fully understand and know, but there's enough there to know that that guy would set him up, and that's exactly what he's just like. Here's a gun. I know you're gonna do something stupid with it, but the fact that you're gonna get yourself in trouble and fire it, and you won't be around here anymore. That's what he really wanted. He wanted to get him out of there.
I mean, that's just such a
it's possible,
I really don't think there's any other reason why.
It's also just very convenient. Once again, like just all these things happening to him. Like, here's how he got a gun because some guy doesn't like him. It's just kind of convenient.
Because he knows he's on the point of getting fired. The guy's willing,
if he's already gonna get fired, then why give him the gun?
Because he knows that would get him fired.
Why does anybody do anything? I don't know.
Yeah.
That's what the boss said.
There you go.
Yeah, he's like, I don't know why anyone does anything.
Why would you take this on?
But this does actually bring something up for me where it did feel at times where you just keep shitting on Arthur, and that started getting really old, and it did start feeling like writing.
It hurt.
It started to feel like, okay, this is the writer making sure that we see why that he snapped. Here's another shitty thing to happen. Here's another shitty thing to happen. Here's another shitty thing. They just kept throwing it at him, and it's just like, not even my life is that bad.
But those are parts of what makes the Joker the Joker. Like in the versions
it's too convenient.
But if you read The Killing Joke, have you guys read that or know about that story?
Yes.
Which Killing
It's
Joke?
been a while.
It's a comic book version of the Joker's origin. So in that version, he's pretty much explaining to the audience and to Batman that you're not that much different from me. You're one bad day from becoming me. And he's trying to prove that by torturing Commissioner Gordon to the point where I'm going to make him snap because if you just have one bad day, you'll go over the edge. So the idea of bad things happening, that's how he falls into badness.
No, but you didn't feel like it was so terribly convenient that all of this stuff happened just bam, 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 literally one right after another,
Bad things happen in threes. But here's the thing, I do get what
I thought that
saying.
only happened in my life, in real life. You know what I mean? Crazy.
I completely understand what you're saying because they never show something going well, but when something does go well, it's literally just in his imagination. So when he gets the standing ovation, when he gets called down the stairs, all these things that happen aren't really happening.
No, him getting invited on the show was good for him.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about when he gets called down the stairs.
of course I was in his
Yeah,
head.
or really.
But anything positive in his life is just a figment of his imagination.
But-
that is a huge deal when your
Of course.
dreams are infinitely better than your reality. And your reality, it's just, like Alex was saying, which I just want to echo this statement, it's anything good that Arthur Fleck does, he's not positively reinforced for the behavior. However, on the other end of that, anything negative that he does is reinforced positively, which is so mind-blowing and insane, and it mirrors the culture that we're in of kind of like, oh, let's go viral by doing something terrible or something hilarious or pulling a prank.
He should have just eaten a Tide Pod and just, avoided... the movie's over in like 30 seconds. It's like, wow,
And you get your
what an
advertising
icon.
going.
What an icon.
But do you see what I'm saying? Like when he does the bad things, when he shoots the kids and he's hailed, I don't want to say a hero, but someone who has completely ignited a movement and become a face for the movement.
Yeah, and he even says
All
that he
the
wasn't
things.
even sure that he existed, and now he knows he does because people are talking about the stuff that he did on TV.
Right.
And that wasn't even his point. Like,
Right.
He
No,
didn't
he
have a
wasn't
point.
trying to. He was just like trying to protect himself, and like obviously he's a little out of it.
He's a bad guy.
He's not a bad guy.
He has to be. You
I
can't.
mean,
He went from.
He killed 10 people, but he's not a bad guy.
He
I
went
don't
from
think-
self-defense
I don't think it's
to
black and
murder.
white.
I don't think that's what the movie's trying to say.
Intention
Well,
matters.
Have you ever been in a dark place where you've actually wanted to murder someone?
But he
Because
murdered the third
I'm
guy.
not a bad
You can't say
person,
that's
but-
self-defense.
When
Which
you're
one?
in that,
No,
when
the
you're
third
in
one
that state, though,
definitely
That's
was.
murder.
no, because when you're like freaked out like that,
Yeah.
you don't know. Like it's really fight or flight. Like seriously.
Not at that point.
Yes, at that point, absolutely.
After
if you
he killed the first
if
two.
you just killed someone, you don't know what's going
He
on.
killed 2 people.
Exactly. So imagine
And
how
he
you're
could have
feeling
just
at that
like,
point.
yeah, I agree with you. But he made a choice
He might
to kill that third person.
remember this
That's
thing.
not self-defense
No, but
anymore.
remember this. He's also very mentally ill. It's
True.
very possible that he had no idea what he was doing at all. Have you ever blacked out? Like not from alcohol, but like from severe
He didn't
emotion?
black out.
You don't
Well,
And
know
the
what that
movie
looks
doesn't
like.
implicate that that's what happened. But I get what you're saying.
It
But I
does,
just don't
though.
think. No, it doesn't.
Because even when he runs up the stairs, it's like in a very like cartoonish like way, and then he dances in the bathroom, and
Well-
that's like his moment of euphoria.
Well, no, I
and
think
he's
that
just kind of
the
scared and
dancing
lost
in the
it.
bathroom for me that symbolizes that the Arthur
We've
Fleck that
begun,
we
yeah.
know
We've
is
begun
completely
the
gone,
transformation
and the
into
Joker.
Mhm.
We see the
Yeah.
Joker from there on in.
Hmm.
He's not Arthur Fleck anymore.
I think we start
That
to
was-
see the Joker at a different point.
No,
that's
that's
kind
the
of,
moment.
No.
Well, okay. Well,
Then
what
why
moment
didn't the
do you
movie
think?
just end there?
No, because that was the begin. That he transferred.
It's the beginning, but it's not a full transformation.
No, I think no, but I
it's
think
like
Arthur.
a Pokemon.
Yeah,
It's
but I
like-
think Arthur
he still
Fleck
has
is
more
gone
evolvement
at that
to
point. What we were introduced
I don't
to,
think it's
that
that-
person is gone.
I don't think it's that simple, Sean.
Well,
I really,
I think
that's
the
how I
Joker-
interpreted it.
I think the Joker was already being made when he clocked out of work the third time, and I have a
And he
reason
punched
why, but I have it in a special Easter egg video that I'm gonna publish tomorrow.
Fair enough.
Yeah, so stay tuned for that.
We'll be sure to link to that.
Well, but
sure.
for me, it was that point because if you look at like he's just slowly, it's like when he goes into the bathroom, it's slowly washing over him what he did, and he's coming to grips and understanding of what he did, and he's coming to accept what he did for what he did, and I think that's the point where the good Arthur, he puts that away, and he's becoming a different person, and at the end we see what he becomes, but that's where it began, is that moment when he realizes fully, once the fight or flight is gone, and he actually can fully contemplate what he did. I think that's where the Arthur Fleck dies at that point. He's not Arthur anymore at that point. For me, that's how I view it.
I don't see it that way, but also I just keep coming back to this. Let's not forget, like, this guy is not well.
I agree. He's not well.
So how can it's just really interesting. It's like really interesting story to watch because you think he's making choices, but like how can you actually make choices when you're not in your right mind? Like, or are you like
cannot.
at the whims of your illness?
So
you know
where
what
do
I mean?
where do you
Like,
think it began then? If
can.
you don't think it began in the bathroom, where did you think?
No, I don't disagree. I'm not saying Arthur Fleck is gone at that point.
Yeah.
I think yes, his transformation is clearly, begun, and maybe he's got a taste of blood, and maybe in his mind it's like, oh, that wasn't a big deal. Actually, people like me for it. You know what I mean? Like I think it started there. I don't think he's completely gone because the Joker wouldn't have gone to Thomas Wayne and be like, Dad. You know what I mean? Like Arthur is still in there.
Yeah.
And
And he's still in there when he suffocates his mom to death too.
But like
No, I don't-
that's
no, I don't think so.
that's
I
what's
don't
so
think so.
interesting
Sarcasm.
because it's an interesting character to look at because it doesn't follow the same rules as your normal like protagonist or / antagonist or anti-hero.
Yeah.
It just doesn't follow because they introduced this like mental illness thing that's not just like, oh wow, he's crazy, he's a bad guy. Like they really introduced it in a very delicate, heart, breaking way, but realistic way. Like this guy's off his meds, I mean, so how can you really fully understand what it is that's going through his mind,
You look at his notebook. That's it.
It's at his
No, but it kind of goes back to
It's
what you're
really
saying.
interesting.
Like is it? How can all this? We believe like all this stuff really happened. It was like a perfect storm. Like him being how he is, him being off his meds, him like having the way his relationship is with his mother, him having the relationship with Thomas. Like all these things, like it was perfect storm. If you take one element out, it changes the story completely. That's one of the reasons why I like this version of the Joker because it paints it where in the real world, like it's funny how Christopher Nolan saying like, well, this is the Joker as I perceived it in the real world, but that's still a cartoonish version of the real world because we really wouldn't have a Batman in our world, not the way he's portrayed in that movie. But in this, it's like if a guy off his meds in the city the way it's in, the way like if all these things were to happen, someone could end up being someone like this version of the Joker. It's very possible, and the way that Todd Phillips made it, it's 100% believable.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
I have an eyelash in my eye. I'm gonna die right now.
Oh my gosh, it's the Joker. He's at it again.
I know he's at it
just,
again.
Like, chaos and anarchy.
Like one thing I want to talk about is like before the movie came out and when critics saw it and it was playing at festivals, they were talking about like, oh, this movie's very violent. It's disturbing. It's very violent.
Not annoying me.
I was
Have you
like-
not seen The Departed or
I was like-
Godfather or anything
Have you
else?
watched
This movie
anything?
is not that
Any
violent.
movie. It's just unsettling.
Like there are violent scenes, but
Do you
it's
think
not very
it's
violent.
shocking?
I think it's just very graphic violence, but it's not a violent movie.
But do you think
It's not.
people reacted that way? I think maybe twofold. Maybe one, because they actually did set up this character to be likable. So it is disturbing to see someone that you're supposed to be aligned to doing these terrible things and then getting rewarded for it. I think that's part of the
Maybe.
I think that's what some other people are saying, that's like, oh no, why are they making him look like such a good guy when he's so violent? And I think maybe that's what was shocking. But also, this is a comic book character, and we're so used to seeing stuff like Doctor Strange, or there's no blood, it's just magic.
It's not,
So it's just a very unusual story to tell about a culturally present. Like the Joker is part of our pop culture.
He
like
is.
just
And also
deep there in
see,
the back of your brain.
the third point is that also, in light of what happened in the Colorado shootings in Aurora, like this is something that prompted someone to go into the Dark Knight and shoot everyone in there and injure a bunch of people. When I went to go see Joker a second time around, I went to Thousand Oaks to see it, and there was a police officer or security in the theater just walking around the entire time just to make sure nothing crazy would happen.
Yeah.
And that was unsettling for me as a viewer, like, you're supposed to feel more safe, but I'm like, wow, like, I can't even fathom the idea of, like, someone being propelled to commit a horrific act because of something in a movie. But it's something that happened, so it was,
that's true.
Brought up. It's like, oh, if this happened with
Yeah.
Dark Knight, this is Joker, like, we don't want something crazy happening during the movie.
I mean, it's easy to connect those dots, but it also could be like there's violence in movies where the movie is not in the real world, like it's not portrayed in the real world. Like the perfect example to me is like John Wick.
Mm-hmm.
Like John Wick is way more violence, and way more violence happens in those movies.
That's true,
but it's not
it's
considered
like
a
heightened. It's like heightened reality.
we know like your brain already knows. Oh, that's not in the real world, so I'm okay with that kind of violence. But this movie is portrayed, and if you take the word Gotham out and you put New York in, that's New York I'm telling you, that's New York in the 80s. That's exactly what it looked like. Mm-hmm. So for me, if you're looking at it from like, this could be the real world, and then you see that, oh my God, that's violent. That's real violence to some people.
Mm-hmm.
Versus like John Wick, that's played violence. That's fantasy
It's like
violence.
a video game.
This is
almost.
real
Yeah.
violence. Oh my god, he's violently and viciously killing that guy in his apartment. Like that's, oh my god, that could be real. So I get what people are saying, but for me it's still violence is violence. Like I don't view John Wick more or less violent than the Joker. They're both violent.
I feel like the Joker was more visceral though. Like there's something about it that made me feel like
it makes you
well,
feel
because there's
like,
emotion and pain behind those kills.
I think that's the difference.
It's not just like I'm
it's
killing
not
you
just
for no
someone taking
reason.
out a machine gun and then slaughtering him.
Yeah, like empty kills.
Yeah.
Like I don't know you. Bang, bang,
This
bang.
is like
It's
you've
like
developed a character
yeah.
and then you shoot them, and then you develop another character and then you strangle them, and then you develop another character and you're like, okay, this is how we're gonna play this whole thing out. Like,
or you
it's
develop a
lot.
character and then that character starts doing all the killing. You're
But
like, oh!
I mean, but I want to get back to a little bit
back
like
on
you
the
guys. Like
Jaws
I don't
for sure.
see any redeeming qualities in him. Like
What? How?
like besides his relationship with his mom, he doesn't do anything redeemable in the movie. Like he
He did the
doesn't.
magic trick for Bruce Wayne. Okay.
That really wasn't for his benefit.
He doesn't
That
magic-
wasn't for that's for him to get closer to find out more information.
Maybe,
So that
but
was his benefit.
But
He
that
goes
kid,
to the
kid on the
kids.
bus, he's trying to make
Yeah.
the kid on the bus
The kid on the
smile.
bus.
Like there are
He goes
small
to the hospital.
moments.
But that doesn't make him
He
redeemable.
tells-
That just
sure
means that he's
does.
just doing
He
things.
literally
Sure it
says,
does.
"This job is everything. I can't lose this job." At
Yeah.
that point, we see everything change when we know he
That's a
loses the job.
completely
because that's his
relatable-
But
identity.
is he
Yeah.
just doing that job because it fits into the narrative that his mom put in his head that you're put in this world to make the world smile?
It
So you
doesn't
have
matter.
a jo- I think that does
That
matter.
It doesn't
It does
The
matter.
fact of
doesn't
the
matter
matter
because
is
it's
he
real to
wants to
him.
spread joy
No, I
and
know, but I'm
laughter.
just saying,
It
but
doesn't
that-
matter if he wants to do it because his mom wants him to do it or because he does. Because at the end of the day, he wants to spread joy and laughter.
No, I think that he's just
wants
trying to do
spread
what his
joy and
mom
laughter.
wants him to do.
He also wants to be a comedian. His mom did said nothing about
Same
being a
thing.
comedian.
Same thing. To putting smiles on people's faces. That fits into that
But
narrative.
if he really likes it though,
I don't
then
think.
that's
I don't
He
think
also
he
finds
does.
human connection.
you don't think he actually likes it? He doesn't.
No, I
want
think
to
he's
be-
just doing it to please her. I don't think.
If he wanted to
I
please
don't
her, he
think
wouldn't
so.
do stand-up comedy because his mom specifically said,
He also.
"Oh, come
yeah.
on, honey, like you're gonna do the stand-up thing, but you're not even funny."
But he's still trying to go back to that. I'm
And
here
he
to put
wouldn't-
a smile on
There's a
people's
chance that
face.
she didn't even say your job is to spread joy and
Well,
laughter because why would she say you're
that's
not
stuck
even
in his
funny?
brain.
Why would
Because
she say
she
you're not
knows
funny?
she knows the reality.
Yeah.
So why would she tell him both things? Your purpose
No,
is to spread joy and
your
laughter.
purpose
you're
was
not
to
even
put but
funny.
then now you're not funny. But like when she said that tattooed in his
It
brain.
doesn't matter. It's real to him.
Oh, I'm not saying it's not
he,
real to
and
him.
he really, really does want to either put a smile on people's face, or even if it is just, I want to please my mom.
Even if it jizz.
Even if it just, wow, Dr. Freud. Even if it is just that he wants to please his mom, that's still a redeemable quality as well. Like, there are a lot of moments where, you feel bad for him.
Well-
you don't necessarily have to.
And this is just a separate thing. And whether or not you empathize with him, you have the right to not empathize with him. We have the right to
That's
empathize
true.
with him.
But I'm just saying,
Different
like,
people
look
are
at
gonna
the scene in the
interpret it
train with that woman. He's not saving her. He's not really like I'm going to protect this woman. He's not really. That's not what his point was.
What do you mean?
I
Why would he
think it
protect-
might have been.
I don't
he
think it
saw
was.
them. Well, he saw them fucking with her, and
Oh, he wanted to. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Because he
Yeah.
started getting really affected by it and then started
yeah,
laughing.
he,
at her.
yeah, he was
I-
like, look at how
he
they're
was looking
treating.
and he was getting affected by
like,
it.
But we
Look
don't
how
know
they're-
how. You're assuming he's like, oh, I'm gonna try to protect. You see, if I don't want to say, it's if you view it like, oh, he's redeemable. You're like, oh, he's trying to protect her. He just doesn't know how. I'm just saying, I think he's ambivalent and just watching it, and it affected him, and then he just started to laugh. So we don't know if that laugh was like, oh my God, I'm worried about this woman. I want to try to save her, or just like that's kind of funny, and he started to laugh.
No,
Either narrative could be true. He could have found that amusing.
Because there
he easily
isn't,
could have.
because there's not a lot of violence against women in this film specifically. There's not a lot of violence against women. There's violence against the mom that he
She's a
commits.
woman.
Yeah, that's the one woman that there's violence against. But everyone else, like he idolizes Zazie Beetz' character, the neighbor, and
Yeah.
like there's not a negative relationship towards women in the film the same way that there is against other male counterparts in the film. Like it's entirely different.
I think
entirely different.
I think also the point is too though, like if you just look at this character development against other character development of other villains, which actually there isn't much, because we don't get a lot of villain origin stories, sadly. I think the point is that we're supposed to be aligned with him as a sympathetic character.
Yeah, in the
And
beginning,
that,
at least in the beginning.
that is
at least.
why that is the filmmakers made that choice
I
to
get it.
make
I
sure
get it.
that
I
we
just
felt bad for him.
I never did. I didn't feel bad.
Well,
for
you're
him,
dead inside.
Yeah, maybe I am, but I never felt like, oh, poor Arthur. Oh.
Really? Oh my God! The
No,
whole time
I
I was like, this poor man. All he wants is his medication. All he wants is health care to be on his side.
I want healthcare to be on his side too because he obviously needs it, and then that's another point.
So
Look
sad.
how the system is so screwed up where this guy definitely needs it. And they know, the system knows he needs it, and it's
I feel him.
doesn't matter.
Right now, I feel him.
We're 100%. We're failing him,
Yeah.
and we're failing a lot of people, and we know it. But we're just, that money can go somewhere else. Sorry.
And then the psychologist says, "No one cares about you," and I'm like,
but she's
"But
right.
no one cares about me either," and it's so
The system
true.
doesn't care who it crushes.
And it's reflected in the way that Arthur Fleck, when he goes on the Murray Franklin show, when he becomes Joker, in that moment,
But you
when
think he becomes
fully,
Joker then?
when he has fully transformed.
That's his full
when
transformation.
he has fully
yes.
transformed
I
into
disagree.
Joker. At
I
that
agree.
point, he was fully Joker.
No.
It is so crazy and so it just resonated with me when he said, "Oh, you guys are so mad that I killed these 3 Wall Street guys.
Mhm.
I could be on the side of the road and you guys would walk over and nobody would even care about me."
Yeah, that's
and
true.
that is the fact of the matter, is that the way it has so much to say about even the news media and news culture, not just in the 80s, but this happens nowadays.
Of course it does.
We have a 24-hour news cycle, and we will empathize with certain people who look like us that we can relate to,
Totally.
but so-and-so person from Iraq or the Middle East or whatever, Zimbabwe, nobody cares about them because we can't identify with them. We can't relate. So it's kind of similar to that. It's like you see Arthur Fleck on
the point
TV.
that's the point that they're making.
You
Totally.
have the news story about him, and then it cuts to a million different TV screens reporting about the same thing, and just instilling all this fear in people, whoa, what a horrible person who did this, which it was a horrific act on TV. It was crazy, but yeah, everyone
But they were
sympathizing
throwing
with the 3
peanuts
Wall
at
Street
a nice
guys.
lady.
And he even said,
Assholes.
"Oh, you care about these 3 Wall Street guys? Why? Because Thomas Wayne went on TV and said, 'Oh no'?" And that is literally how our news functions, is when someone says, "Oh no, this poor
Yeah.
person," everyone gets behind it all of a sudden.
This is another thing, though.
TV
This is
doesn't
another. This is another.
Or the internet doesn't
This
lie.
is another thematic thing that I wish that could have been either focused more on in this film or saved for another one, because it's just too
A
much.
lot.
Because I was like, oh, I had the exact same reaction. I was watching. I was like, this is like watching Fox News or whatever, or any news. Yeah, I mean, but it was just so frustrating, and I wish that they had elaborated. I don't know. There was a lot going on. There's a lot going on in this film thematically, and that was just one other thing that I had to try to wrap my brain around. What are they trying to say? Oh God! And then it was just like an emotional roller coaster. Basically, is what I'm trying to say.
I mean, but one of the
Yeah.
things I'm glad didn't happen, which I was a little worried would happen, is that they would shift focus off of the Joker. Everything that happens in this movie is there to help support how he's going to become what we know he's going to become at the end.
Mhm.
Nothing happens in that movie that doesn't support that. And
That's
that's
true.
one of the things I love about it, is because I was always worried, oh, Thomas Wayne's in the movie. Oh, they're going to focus too much on him.
Yeah.
Oh, Bruce Wayne's in the movie. No, they're going to focus on him. Even the part of the movie I disliked the most, which was them showing Thomas Wayne and Martha being shot, again, which I didn't want. When I came out of that movie, I was like, why couldn't we just see them go down the alley, and then the guy go down the alley, and we all know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Even if you want to hear the gunshot,
Yeah.
I've been okay with that.
That would have
I
been
was
more
just
interesting.
Why do we need to see it again? But
Yeah.
when I thought about it some
Dang,
more,
see it.
we did need to see it because it helps support the Joker's story, where that guy's like, this is what you get. The Joker pushed the city for him to get killed. So we needed to see it to support the Joker's story. So then I don't feel as
And-
bad about it
Yeah.
as time has gone on. But at the moment, I was like, oh, I didn't want to see it, but now I get why it's there.
Even when he just takes the pearls before killing.
Well, that's
the
part.
woman,
That's part of the whole thing.
But that's just so beautifully done in like such a cinematic way because it's like, okay, like it's really, really hitting the nail on the head with, okay, like this is all the opulence in the city. This is all the chaos and destruction. We want a piece of that. We're gonna take all the pearls.
The pearl
We've
thing is
seen
part
that
of
before.
how she's murdered.
But still, no, I get that. But I'm
Yeah.
just saying it was like even more like effective in that movie. I feel like
Well,
that's how I feel.
for me, no, but only because then it didn't focus on Bruce Wayne's reaction to it. It's more about it happened to Thomas Wayne because of these other reasons.
I
it didn't elaborate on Bruce's like reaction to it.
He didn't have a reaction.
No, but I'm just saying, but it didn't linger on him. Like if this was a Batman movie,
I still feel like
it would have lingered on him.
The shot was still too long.
Well,
on Bruce.
I didn't think so. I think if it was trust me, if it was a Batman movie, it would have been handled completely differently.
Well, obviously.
And but at first I was like, oh, it shouldn't be there. But then no, it fits the narrative of the Joker's story. And in this version of the Joker, Thomas Wayne needs to die. So I get it, and I loved it.
Can I put it on Instagram Live right now? I'm so sorry while we're doing this. Yeah, thank you guys.
Instagram.
Yes.
We'll move that.
Okay.
Hey, Instagram.
Continue.
You barely say no. Like and the fact that people are calling this a comic book, look at this comic book movie, like it's not really a comic book movie. It's a movie about a comic book character.
Well, what I mean,
and
what's the difference? Which
the difference
I am
is
curious.
because
It's
people
character driven. It's not plot driven.
because people are like, oh my god, a comic book movie, it could be this good, blah blah blah. This movie could be about anybody. You could separate Joker and just put Bill. It's the same freaking movie.
Bill.
It's the same movie. It just happens to be about a character that we know. That movie's basically Taxi Driver. Is Taxi Driver a comic book movie?
Yeah.
No. It's the same. It's basically the same movie.
Yeah.
It's the same movie. So I hate the fact that you're kind of like putting it in this little box. Like, oh, it's this comic book movie. It isn't. When it does well at the Oscars, it'd be like, oh, look at this comic book movie, blah, blah, blah,
I feel
blah.
like it is a comic book movie.
No, it's not.
Because you're taking
You're
taking
well,
an
something we haven't
icon.
seen before.
You're taking Joker, a character that we all know. We all know
Well,
like
we haven't
that
seen
he's
this
the Joker.
version of him.
But we've never seen how he's the Joker. We never see how he becomes the Joker. We just know that he has some sort of past, some sort of abuse in his past. Because even in Heath Ledger's version, like let's remember, he talks about how he gets the scars.
Well, we never know.
He's like,
None of those
oh,
are
like
real.
this could have happened this way. So we know that there's a dark history there, but this is the one version of Joker where it's not just some like maniac roaming the streets like for no reason. Like we see his decay and deterioration into what we know as the Joker.
But that's just a man becoming a symbol.
Well, I think
that could be anything.
I think you brought this up earlier. Like the whole concept of a comic book movie sort of leads you to believe that it's going to be serialized in the same way that like the Marvel universe is. It's like, well, okay, they did Joker, like how are they going to branch off from that and tell like 15 other stories with side characters? Like when's the Harley Quinn? You know what I mean? Like I feel like that is what a modern comic book movie means. At least in America, that's what that means. It's like this sort of serialized.
This is
it'll never
to this.
stop.
Yeah, and people are trying to do that right now. Like, well, what if this Joker turns into the Joker that Robert Pattinson's Batman's gonna like? None of that stuff's gonna happen. Bruce was like 8 years old in this movie, and Joker's like in his 30s. That connection's never gonna be made.
I absolutely love that age gap because it made it so much creepier in my opinion.
Yes, I love that.
It's like a different type of rivalry. It's like we know that this young Bruce Wayne is going to grow up to be the Batman we know.
Maybe.
Like, we know that.
We don't know, but we don't know anything, and that's the part that I love about it.
But we also don't know if Batman is secretly dark, and like, you know, we don't know if it's like the reverse.
But like
in the sense, in the sense that he's like a dark and like sinister character, because he's always been shown as the person who wants to save Gotham. Maybe, yes.
Well, I mean, some people think like Batman's a sick one. He's just beating up on these people that need help. That need mental help. So it depends on what your point of view is. But the fact that we know he's on the road to becoming Batman, but we don't know what's going to happen to Bruce Wayne. And that's what I don't want this to connect to anything.
That's because we don't know what dimension this is.
Yeah, and I don't want to know.
It's fine, but I want to bring up the fact that in the comic books, there is more than one Joker. There's more than one way for the Joker to...
Yeah, absolutely.
And I thought that the end of this film, this Joker film, made so much sense because any one of the people who are in the riot, like following his... following what he's doing, any one of them could become another Joker.
They could.
And that's what a lot of fans theories.
Yeah, I mean,
it's stupid. Yeah.
Why?
I don't want. I mean, like, I'm not saying that the idea of something like that, but I don't want it to tie into something later on. I don't want to do a back time.
No, that's not the point.
I get what you're saying.
The point is, like, it made sense thematically for him to incite all this violence and really start a movement because it actually is sort of part of the Joker's. Like history, like at least comic book wise, where there are more than one. And so it makes total sense for this movie to end with the one Joker, maybe inspiring a couple of other people to do some dastardly deeds, like the Joker, who actually goes into the alleyway and shoots the Waynes.
Can I...
like it kind of makes sense that way.
Can I point something out? Because I wanted to see if you guys paid attention to this part in the movie, or if it's just me, or if it's pure coincidence. But there's a scene where the one time we see like some semblance of human connection on the Joker's end, where he's connecting with someone non-verbally, is when we see someone with a clown mask in the car, as he's walking out, and it's in the trailer as well, and he's just like looking, and it's the same mask that we see later on in the movie that saves him from the car. Do we think that that's the same person, or is that not the point? Is it that it's just a symbol of this movement that's been made? Because I saw it as the same person that he has human connection with is the same one that ends up saving him later on, even though that mask could obviously be a duplicate.
No, I think the point is like he's starting to really see like people see him now. It's kind of like...
But that same mask, that's not an accident. That
must have been on sale at the Party City.
Yeah, like there's a lot of masks out there. I think because remember at one point he's like, the world is starting to see me now. Like he sees himself out there now, and I think that's just fueling his internal flame of like this is, I'm meant to do this now.
So you don't think
he's getting validation of what he's doing?
Intentional on Todd Phillips' part to show the same mask, that same exact mask, and the same type of persona twice in the movie. In the beginning when he makes the human connection, and at the very end when he
I don't think it's a human connection he made there. I think he's making a
clown
point.
Connection.
He's seeing it's more like
he's seeing validation. Almost like what you're saying. He wants validation. There it is. But it's not the same person. It's the symbol of, oh, I'm being validated.
I mean, it could be the same person, but I don't think it matters.
It doesn't.
Here's the thing. The only reason that they would have it be the same person is because they only had to pay that dude once.
Well, yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's not. But no, I think that mask comes.
Just saying.
The reason the mask comes back around is like, oh, there's my validation again. That what I'm doing right now is just.
Right.
So I'm just gonna keep doing it.
Okay.
It's just kind of fueling him, like, yeah, keep doing, like, go. It's like the bad person on your shoulder. Yeah, you're doing it right.
Oh, there's like, is it like a white Batman on the shoulder and like a black Batman?
No, it's like Heath Ledger on one side and Jack Nicholson on the other side.
Oh yeah.
And Jared Leto's like, where am I?
Wait, where's Danny DeVito?
He's not the what?
He's the penguin.
No,
I need a penguin on.
I need another shoulder for Danny.
Anyways, I like. What do you guys think about like how the movie ends, where he's like. He's laughing and he's like, well, what's so funny? He's like, you wouldn't get it.
And then he kills her?
Yeah, I think that's
okay.
because I think this whole thing is like, this is now a joke, like almost like he said, oh, I thought my life was a tragedy, it's really a comedy. He gets what it's going on now, and that's kind of what the Joker, to his core, is kind of like. He's an agent of chaos. There's a joke that he's trying to get everybody else to get, and only he finds it funny. He's out there trying to make himself laugh.
Yeah, at this point, it's
at
not.
Everybody else's
it's
expense.
no longer about external validation at this point.
Yeah, not that.
Now that
found
he
it
becomes
within
the
himself.
Joker, he's like, it doesn't matter. I find it funny. Like at this point, you guys are all like working for me. Like it's not about me getting validation from you anymore. It's like he killed off all the people that didn't give him the validation. If you think about it, he killed off his mom. Didn't get validation from his mom.
If only it were that easy.
Spoiler alert for the fans out here and over here.
Well, we said that.
If only it were that easy just to kill everyone who doesn't validate you. I mean, I feel like I would be surrounded by much better friends.
Machine gun to Sean over here.
He didn't kill his boss though, which was interesting. He didn't kill him.
Well, his boss was just
Being a
well,
boss.
Maybe he did. Maybe he did.
I don't know.
Yeah,
One of my
The movie
favorite
doesn't
parts-
allude to it,
One of my
though.
favorite parts in the movie, though, honestly, like the earliest time that I laughed in the movie was when he's like laughing at the joke about the little person, and he turns the corner and he just stops dead.
I know, we all,
Oh.
like when I was watching it, we all laughed, like the whole theater laughed at, because it's almost just like, wow, that's weird.
So uncomfortable.
Yeah, but again, the movie is trying to be uncomfortable and playing it as a joke
Yeah.
that you're supposed to laugh at that point.
But
Like,
also
it's
shows
a
that
very
we-
dark comedy.
Yeah,
really,
yeah,
at
and
its
I loved it.
finest.
I
But
loved
it
it.
also it reminds me a little bit of if you guys know Watchmen, the character of the comedian. Do you know Watchmen? Do you know Watchmen?
Mm-mm.
I
I know Watchmen.
It kind of is like a similar but like a little more disgruntled character who like thinks everything's funny. Like there's this grand comedy in life from everything being so damn tragic and shitty, where it's like everything is so bad and terrible that it's kind of funny and you have to laugh at it. Like there is a little bit of that element in there, I feel like, where he's like, well, I'm done trying to actually fit in. Everything is so bad. You may as well laugh about it, you know, and
Yeah.
do a little jig and
I mean, that's kind of what he does. Especially, He does it in the bathroom and he does it on the stairs.
yeah, there is
And
a little bit of that.
And again, I think that's why, for me, the bathroom is the start of it, because he goes in there and then he just slowly starts to like, almost like try the Joker on. And it's like, I like how this feels. I like what I'm getting out of it. It doesn't feel 100% feel 1,000% comfortable because it doesn't have the full persona down at that point.
He's working it
But
out.
I think then once he gets the makeup on, has the clothes on, and he goes full like, I'm the Joker, I think, again, that's the finality of it. But I believe the beginning of it is that bathroom scene. For me, it's kind of like, if you watch Breaking Bad, in the pilot,
Yeah.
where towards the end, spoiler alert if you haven't seen Breaking Bad, but I'm only talking about the pilot, where Walter is in the clothing store,
Yeah.
and those guys are really annoying him, and he leaves. For me, and no one can convince me otherwise, we never see Walter White ever again. The guy who comes back in is Heisenberg. He's not fully Heisenberg yet, but he's not Walter White anymore. He's not. He's neither one of them at that point. He's becoming Heisenberg from that moment on. He's no longer Walter White because every decision he makes going forward is not what Walt would do.
Here's the thing that I don't
And I
agree.
kind of feel the same
We're
way
not
with
talking about
Wolf.
Breaking Bad necessarily, but
No.
here's what I don't agree with that application in that sense, but also with the Joker is it makes it less of a conflict if you're not fighting who you used to be, or at least fighting who you're becoming and you don't like it. You know what I mean? Like, it gets rid of the whole struggle, which is boring. And so I
Was
don't...
he really struggling?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Without his
Yeah.
without his
I don't
legs,
know.
yeah, he didn't.
He's trying to find he's trying to find his place. He doesn't know where he fits
but
in. He doesn't know
this
what
is-
he's supposed to do.
I agree with that, but I don't think it was
This is
a
how we know,
struggle.
but this is how
I was
we
thinking
know-
he was like,
It is-
should I not kill this guy?
No, that's not the struggle that he's dealing with. The struggle is who am I and where am I going? Who was I without my mom? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, but that gets the point back to Mom's that he's not Arthur anymore. He's
I
already
But
becoming
he has some
version of the
semblance-
Joker.
I think
Even
there's
before the Murray
always going
Franklin
to be-
show,
yeah.
he still has some semblance of Arthur Fleck. And the
No, I
reason
agree.
we know that is
I
because
agree.
he spares the life of the little person. He could have just as easily killed him, but he didn't have to. It's not like he's on some sort of killing spree and is going to kill every single person.
but-
and it's bad. But he is going to kill the people who wronged him.
True.
And he is going to kill the people that he thinks are
But
bad
do
people.
you-
But just listen to me. Hold up 1 second. Is the fact that when he thinks someone is a bad person, he annihilates them. He tells Murray Franklin on the Murray Franklin show, "You're a bad person, Murray." And he's like, "Why am I a bad person?" "Because you made fun of me and you brought me on here to make fun of me." Does he go and kill the person next to him or any of the audience members or the other guests to his right? No, he doesn't. He only kills Murray Franklin. By the way, that scene completely startled me. I was like, what just happened the first time I saw it?
I had no idea what to expect.
my
It
God.
really could have
The
gone.
gun
Because the
shots were
movie
so
set
loud.
you up to think he's gonna kill himself, but then he kills
Yeah.
Murray Franklin. So that's why it upsets you, because the movie's like, oh, he's gonna pull that gun and kill himself, but no, he killed
Yeah,
Murray.
but you never know.
But I
because
didn't think
it
he
could-
was going to kill himself, though.
But
He
I'm just
must
saying, with the
practice
movie's
it.
setting you
I
up
just-
to think that's what he's going to do. You didn't, like, I didn't think he was gonna kill him either.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure what he was gonna do.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm sure he's not gonna kill himself, but I like him killing Murray the way he did it. was like, oh,
I
okay.
feel like they did a really good job of keeping this film completely unpredictable because we don't know. Like, Arthur's a bit of a loose cannon as he's becoming the Joker. It's like, oh my god, I mean, this really could go either way. He could kill himself, he could kill Murray, or he could just go through the show as normal, and then we take a big breath, and then he walks outside and then kills someone out there. You know what I mean? Like, we really didn't know what to expect.
But he said on the Murray Franklin show, like, that's the point when we're like, okay, like, he's hit rock bottom. He says on the Murray Franklin show, when Murray Franklin says, why should we believe you? Why should we even believe that you killed those 3 Wall Street guys? He says, because I have nothing left to lose. That is such a turning point in the movie, you guys, because he's saying that he's hit rock bottom. He has nothing left to lose.
I mean, that's literally what that means,
talking about, like, how he was struggling the whole time. At that point, he doesn't need to struggle. He doesn't give a shit what he does anymore.
Yeah, because I think maybe there was a part of him that was like, maybe that too, but also the fact maybe he was going to kill himself because, like, I got nothing else to lose at this point.
Yeah.
Like, I'm about to kill myself anyway, so I can do whatever I want at this point because it's all about to end. But I think having that conversation with Murray, I think maybe changed his mind about what he actually was going to do. Like, in my opinion,
it's
like
possible.
looking back on the scene, but it's like, because I don't think his intention was to kill Murray. I think his intention. I don't know if he fully know what his intentions were.
I don't think he knew what to expect.
Like,
either,
I think
he just knew that was.
He might have thought like, I'm gonna kill myself.
But we knew he didn't like him, and the reason we knew he didn't like Murray Franklin is because he said, Murray Franklin. He literally told Murray Franklin in the green room, "Hey, can you introduce me as Joker?" Why? That's what you called me.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Creepy.
Yeah, well, I mean, like because he accepted that label, like. Yeah, I'm a joke.
Well, it's
and
but joke's on you.
Queen called everyone clowns. Like, you guys are all
that's
clowns.
Yeah, it's like,
but that's
if
the
you're gonna call me a
Joker.
clown, then I'm
That's the
gonna act
reason
like
he's
a
called
clown.
the Joker.
Yeah.
The jokes. You think the joke's on me? No, the joke's on you. Like, I'm going to put the joke on. That's why he always wants to put a smile on everybody's face. It's because joke's on you, haha. But you're dead. Like, that's a joke. You're dead.
Well, how do we feel? This kind of reminds me of doing this actually. How do we feel about that last moment where he just like spreads his nose blood into a smile?
I love that.
Did we like that?
I did.
I don't know if I did or not.
Because it
felt a little.
But he did also on the sign on his way out when he clocked out of work, he crossed out the thing where it said "Don't forget to smile." He crossed out "forget to," so it would say "Don't smile."
Yeah.
And then then he doesn't have to
clowns don't
smile. He just has.
Well, because like otherwise, there's some cartoonish or unrealistic way of him like getting this.
That still did feel a little cartoonish though to me. It's like I don't really need to see what the Joker ends up looking like in order to understand this is the Joker.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying.
Same thing with like not having to see like the Waynes. That's kind of what I put it in that same box a little bit where it's
that
like
didn't
I
bother
don't
me
really
as much.
need
But I totally get what you're saying. But
was
for me,
fine.
it's there to serve his purposes of what he's becoming. So I get what you're saying. It's kind of like him almost kind of flipping, putting a smile on your face on its head. It's almost like, I got a smile on, but it's not the reason you think I have a smile on.
I understand why the Joker draws a smile. I get that. But I don't think I need to see it in this movie. I wanted to put it in the same box as like seeing Bruce Wayne or Alfred.
I know we talked about all of this. Like, we talked about all of our problems with the movie. We talked about different interpretations. What would you give this a rating out of 10?
The Wayne thing is my only thing that, again, walking out bothered me, but as time has gone on, it bothers me even less and less the more I think about it because of the way it was truly handled. There's nothing really wrong with this movie. It's not... I understand how society can look at this movie, especially nowadays, and say, ooh, that's not the right movie for our time. I get that. I'm like, trust me, I get that, but put that aside and let's look at it at what it is. It's a movie. That's all it is, and that's all it really is. It's a movie. As a movie, it's brilliant.
So what rating would you give it out of 10?
9.5 out of 10. The movie is amazing.
Okay.
It's long. Didn't feel long at all. It's like, as soon as I was done watching, I was like, if you would have told me, yeah, you got to go back and watch it right now, I'd been like, well, okay.
I know. I was so down to see it back.
I seen it once. I'm like crazy. I haven't seen it more than once. So I definitely gonna go see it again. But the movie has the way it plays with you, and like it makes you think one thing's gonna happen and another, like all the twists and turns, and like me dealing with my pre-expectations of them, like they're gonna like put all these Easter eggs in there of like, oh look, there's Bruce Wayne, only he's in 2 scenes. Or I thought that we're gonna see Commissioner Gordon, he's not in it at all. Thomas Wayne's in it, kind of maybe 3 or 4 scenes. That's it. No other Batman characters.
There's a sexy Alfred.
Yeah, but again, he's in 1 scene. It's like, I thought they were gonna like, if this movie was really trying to connect things, we would have saw a lot more things. That's why it's like, please, DC and Warner Brothers, do not tie this to anything else. Let it live and breathe on its own. Let it stand on its own as a piece of art and a movie unto itself. Like back in the days when we just made movies for movie's sake, and they weren't tied to anything.
Can you imagine no sequel?
Like, remember when Raiders of the Lost Ark was just...
prequel to the prequel.
Remember when Raiders of the Lost Ark was just Raiders of the Lost Ark, and they would just... well now it's Indiana Jones and Raiders of the Lost... Like, no, that movie was supposed to be a movie.
They should do Joker 2, Jokes on You. Just like
Jokes on Sean. Joker 2, Jokes on Sean.
Really bad,
I would
made for TV.
I'd be so mad I'd hate but I would hate watch it because I would go see it, but I would not be happy. I'd be curious to see what they would do, but I would not be happy about it.
What about you, Alex? What would you give this out of 10?
I had a few more gripes with it than I think Sean did. Minor ones. It did feel a little convoluted in places. It did feel a little... some things I didn't feel like I needed to see. The thing I didn't like the most is actually all the stuff about Mom's history and like Mom, like I don't care about Mom. Like I don't need to know about Mom. It just felt a little convoluted in places, but that said, it was beautifully shot.
Yes.
Joaquin Phoenix should get the Oscar for this film. I mean, he really transformed himself.
I think he will.
Like I didn't see him, the actor. It was... Joker or Arthur Fleck, like really, really good, just very unusual. Like he really found himself physically in that role as opposed to just sitting there and emoting, which he also does really well. But like physically, like the physicalness of his character, I think he really nailed it. So, but that said, I mean, watching the movie, I was like, wow! I laughed, I cried, it moved me. So I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10.
An 8 out of 10? Okay.
But it's funny, like, but wait, before you give your score, the funny, like, you brought up the physicality of it, like, how much, he lost, like,
50 pounds.
Yeah, and the fact that, like, one of the things he was saying is that the weight he lost made him move differently in ways that he didn't think he could move if he had that extra weight. So that kind of, it added to his performance, that weight loss, so, like, and the fact that they didn't really, like, reshoot things because of all the weight he lost, so they had to kind of figure the character out on the fly because of like, well, he's not going to lose this weight again, so we kind of have to figure it out. So the freedom that I thank WB for giving Todd Phillips and Joaquin Phoenix the freedom to do the Joker in the way that they did it, because they could have easily played a very conservative, like, I don't know.
It was a very unusual thing to watch.
That's another reason why I loved it. All right, Mina, go ahead.
Wow, I feel like I'm the only one who's gonna give like a polarizing review. I would literally give this movie 10 out of 10.
What?
I have
polarizing?
Zero qualms with it. There's nothing that I find wrong with this movie because it was done in such a different way. And I think the one thing that we're all forgetting, like, hello, the musical score was incredible.
The score was
phenomenal. Like, even the songs, like, throughout the movie when he's dancing on the staircase and he's like coming down the steps.
That's
like,
one of my favorite
scenes. All the
scenes.
other scenes we see where there's stairs involved, he's climbing up the stairs and he looks completely jaded and over his life. But then the scene where he starts transforming into Joker, he's like coming down the stairs and he's doing a dance and he's taking his time and his movements are different. The whole movie for me really was a work of art. I felt like I was looking at art, moving art on the screen.
That's what cinema's supposed
literally,
to be.
like every shot. I mean, you understand the magic behind this. You went to film school, you understand like the work that's put into this, the cinematography, the directing. And
everyone did a phenomenal job.
Like Joaquin Phoenix's performance, it completely blew me away. Like when we saw Dark Knight, we like all of us were like, oh, like no one's gonna do a better job than Heath Ledger. I wasn't. I didn't know at the time. That was a common thing. Like, wow, Heath Ledger is the ultimate Joker. Now I look at Joaquin Phoenix and I'm like, Joaquin Phoenix, like totally different portrayal. Like Heath Ledger's was like heavier set, very creepy, very intimidating. But Joaquin
Also
Phoenix
funnier,
was
though.
like
Yeah.
creepy
Yeah.
and like
Yeah.
you empathize with him and he's humanized and he has this really deep character arc and just like all these nuanced character traits where like he's not a completely black and white character. He's not completely sinister.
He's
and
not
evil,
just evil.
but
sake of being evil.
Yeah.
you know, he's been bullied his whole life. Like he hasn't like gotten any sort of redemption, and finally he's stepping into what he thinks is his light and his calling. Is this protest?
Yeah.
And there's just like so much
He
like,
wins at the
beautiful
end.
duality
Yeah,
in the film.
Yeah,
There's,
which is
there's
great.
Joker and Arthur Fleck. You know, there's Thomas Wayne's version of the truth and Peggy Fleck's version of the truth. There's dreams versus reality. It's a movie of duality, and it's done so brilliantly. 10 out of 10. No question about it. Joker was my favorite movie of the year. Literally.
But I think that's why putting that comic book label on it does the movie a disservice. Because when you're saying, oh, it's a comic book movie, you're saying that not as a positive thing, as a slight. And this movie is worth more than having that comic book
But we're
tag
changing the
on
definition of what it means to be a comic book movie.
Yeah.
I think the way we think of comic book movies is like very linear. Like, oh, like there's got to be like gunshots and fight scenes and this. And I think this is changing the way we see what it means to be a comic book movie.
I don't think so, because comic book movies aren't this. Well, they used to be.
Watchmen.
Well, I think what if from a person, if you don't watch comic book movies, you have this idea of what it is.
Yeah.
But like kind of what Martin Scorsese's quotes were a little bit. It's like, oh, I tried to watch them, but they're this. They can be this, but they can also be that. They can be whatever you want them to be. And I think if you don't watch comic book movies, you have this assumption of what it is.
Yeah.
Comic book movies can be this.
I mean,
Comic book movies can be anything they want,
Yeah.
because nowadays comic book movies aren't just aren't origin stories and
well, they're
blah, blah,
not.
they're not
They're
just
not always just based on
exactly
the comic. Like they've really
there's
taken
different
a,
interpretations
yeah,
of
they're
things.
taking a mind of their
And-
own, and I think this is an example. And I hope to see more stuff like.
Oh yeah, I hope so too,
Yeah.
and that's why I really don't want to compare this Joker to, let's say, Heath Ledger's Joker or Jack Nicholson's Joker, because they're all different Jokers. Like Jack Nicholson's version is the best Jack Nicholson of that Joker we're going to get. Heath Ledger's Joker is the best Joker of that Joker we're going to get. This Joker is different, and we're going to get, like, Jared Leto's Joker is different. We're going to get another Joker at some point, and they're all going to be... Mark Hamill's Joker is different.
What actor would you guys want to see play Joker?
Mark Hamill.
Whoever does the best, like
physically, that would be really
like,
cool. To
there's
see
no
Mark
there's
Hamill
no way to
take
know.
physically.
There's no way to know, because when
No, who do you want? To
I don't
see?
know, because it's hard to think. Heath Ledger would have been a good Joker. When he was cast, everybody thought that was
It's really
ridiculous.
unexpected, yeah.
And then when you saw the first picture,
But
you're like,
do you know
oh,
the studio,
that makes sense.
I wanna see a female
The studio
Joker.
actually wanted to cast Leonardo DiCaprio in
Yeah, I
this
know.
role.
That
And
would've been a
the
mistake.
director, Todd Phillips, was like, absolutely not. Like, I made this movie with Joaquin Phoenix in mind.
Yeah,
And I keep
that would've
thinking,
been a mistake.
I wonder what Leo would have done, because I can't...
Not as he would
I
have
just
done
feel
this.
like Joaquin, Leo is so adorable and cute. Like, I can't even, imagine
No,
it.
so if he's like
No, but here's the thing.
Ledger was adorable.
But here's the
Yes,
thing.
this is true.
If he would have done it, it wouldn't be this.
It
It wouldn't have
his
been the
version.
same. Yeah, it would be completely
Can we get a
different.
female Joker that's not Harley Quinn?
That's
Well, but Harley
can
Quinn's
we
not the
get
Joker.
a
Kind of
She's
like
not the
Peter
Joker.
Pan, they started
That's what I'm
casting Peter
saying.
Pan as a woman, and now it's a full
I
kid.
can
So
kind of see Rooney,
Well-
Rooney Mara,
Oh, yeah.
whatever
Well,
her
just-
name
just-
is.
just- well, then
as
just make
Joker,
a-
'cause she's kinda the.
But
I
then
can
don't
see
call
it.
it. Then don't call it Joker. Just make a character that's like the Joker, but let it breathe on its own. Like Harley Quinn's not the Joker. She's her own thing. Like if you want to make a Joker type character, make it something like the Joker, but then call it something else. It doesn't have it shouldn't have to have that label.
Okay.
Like let it be its own thing. But for me, it's just like I'm just tired. I just don't like the fact that they're disrespecting this movie with that comic book label, because they're not saying that as a positive. The media's saying that as a negative. This movie is way too good
I think
to get that. And then they did that with The Dark Knight too. But then it made more sense because superhero movies didn't make that turn yet.
Yeah.
The Dark Knight started that turn.
Yeah.
So I get why they did that then. We've come a long way since 2008. For this movie does not deserve that label now.
Right.
I think most of the problems coming from other sources, though, are just the subject matter and the timing, like you were talking about, and how it glorifies, revenge killings, basically. So,
It just shows you that, like, if anyone ever bullies you in school, kids, just
get on meds. Get on meds right away.
No, I'm just I can't even continue
Stay
the
on
joke.
your meds. You're on
I
meds
continue
for.
that joke. It's too bad.
Like remember what the social worker said. You're on your meds for. You're here for a reason, Arthur. Like.
That was the worst psychologist ever. Like,
she's not a psychologist.
Whatever, social worker. I'm sorry.
Yeah, exactly. She's a social worker.
I'm just like, wow, they really don't pay these people enough. Like, she's probably
Clearly
worried
not.
about other things. Like, how's she gonna
pay for?
She's not. You don't see a degree on the wall. Like she's not been to like med school like to study the human brain. She's there just.
Nowadays people do go to grad school for
it's the same thing what he said. It's the same thing. You're just asking the same questions. You know what? Those are the questions on the form she has to fill out.
Negative thoughts are all I have.
Yeah, but he's like, you keep asking the same question. Yeah, Arthur, I have to. See
did
the questions
you guys
on the
try
form?
to read his journal? Like
I try to.
I try to like read
when I
his
get the
journal.
Blu-ray, I will pause it and read it.
Yeah, it did say stuff like, like if I were on the sidewalk, like something about like how funny would my death be?
Yeah, it's funny.
My life is a tragedy.
He's smarter. Like he's actually a pretty intelligent guy too.
He's a good comic.
Like,
his delivery is just bad.
No, but that's another thing with the Joker.
We don't know.
The
Never
Joker
actually really saw it. I don't know.
Is a brilliant man. He really is super brilliant, and he shows that in different versions in the comics. But at his core, he is an intelligent man. He's not an idiot.
I love when he goes to the comedy show and starts taking notes, and when everyone's laughing and they stop, then he starts laughing because there's a delay.
Because he's not well. He's not right. But again, the Joker is. It's not about. It's making himself laugh.
Right.
So he's not going to necessarily laugh at the same thing you're laughing at. Because maybe he's laughing at your reaction to the joke. Because the Joker's just an off guy.
Well, just
that's why I don't think he's.
So okay, you think he's
redeemed.
a Cancer?
I don't know.
He's obviously a Scorpio. We don't know.
Because I'm a Scorpio.
He's a Cancer because he's either like 10,000% nice and
so sweet,
or like 10,000% I will kill you.
You know what? This is my assessment of the Joker via astrology. Joker is clearly a Gemini because we see the duality of Joker. Gemini is the twins. You have one side of Gemini, you have the other side of Gemini. We have Arthur Fleck, we have the Joker. The Gemini dual nature where he has two qualities that coexist at the same time. His kindness, but also his, some really horrible evil stuff.
Gemini shows up right before Cancer too. Yeah, so like he could be born somewhere in.
Maybe he's a Gemini Cancer cusp, June 21st. Who knows?
Just saying.
Who knows?
It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
So that's any other thoughts before we depart?
I'm sure I'm going to think about so many other things that I wish we could have talked about. This is why it's so difficult.
All I have to say, this movie is no joke.
It's great. I mean, like, we never even touched on the fact that maybe...
Mina's off for meds.
Mental illness is no joke, Alex. I don't appreciate it.
Maybe Niro is the real antagonist of this movie. If you really look at it in a certain way.
Yeah, just don't make fun of people.
He's the bad guy.
He is the online internet troll before there was internet. No, I actually
it's all you people out there making bad comments.
Yeah, if you think Arthur Fleck is the hero,
Mark Maron made a nice little cameo in the movie as well.
Yeah, which I loved it.
Yeah.
I was like, you really put this guy on?
You know what's so crazy? I literally saw him. This is so like cut this out of the video, whatever. But I saw him at Comedy Store right when he was about to perform. Right after I saw Joker, and I go up to him. I was like, "Oh, hey, I just watched Joker." He's like, "How is it?" I'm like, it was really good. And then he goes, I was in it. I'm like, that's literally why I'm bringing it up to you. Like, why would I just go up to Mark Maron and tell him I saw the Joker?
Because like he's not in it a lot.
I know, but why would I randomly go up to him and say, hey, I just saw Joker. I've been friends.
It's not like he's Joaquin Phoenix and he's in it all the time. He's in it basically for one scene. If you went to go pee, you would have missed him at that point. So I can understand him saying that.
I actually really did like his role. He talks about on his podcast how he just really wanted a scene with Robert De Niro. Like that.
Well, because Robert De Niro is Robert De Niro is amazing. Like I know we should cut this.
I know
we should go. But Robert De Niro
I'm not doing any editing. Sorry.
Amazing. I know, but I'm saying Robert De Niro is amazing in this movie, and I love the fact that he we're at a point now where Robert De Niro is in a comic book movie as oh my god, he's in a comic book movie 15 years ago. he would never. He's in a comic book movie. How
Hey, he
dare
wasn't like Meet the Fockers and Little Fockers.
No, but again, but there was a
Come
stigmatism on comic book movies are
A stigma.
like, you know what I mean? Like, there's a thing about
Yes.
like there's a thing about, well, you're in a comic book movie. How dare you?
She's having one of her
those aren't made. Those
She's
shouldn't be taken
upset.
I have a card.
seriously.
You're making
I have a
Alex
card.
upset. Stop.
Have a card.
We're done here.
No.
We're done.
So the idea that he's like, we're gotten to the point where anybody can be it and is taken seriously now. That's the part where I love that we've gotten to. That's why, again, it goes back to the fact that I hate that it's getting that label put on it, because that label's a negative. But anyway, so what do you guys think? So you've heard our thoughts. So we agree on certain things, we disagree on certain things. I love the fact that we don't agree on everything. That's what movies are about. They hit you one way, they hit another person another way.
They're about arguing with your friends.
Yeah,
Yeah,
literally, I feel like I'm being attacked right now.
I don't think we're arguing. I just think we disagree on it, and I don't think that's necessarily arguing. It's like you have your point of view, I have mine. The movie hit you one way, didn't hit me that way, or hit me this way, didn't hit you that
Did
way.
it hit you? Do you want to talk about it?
Well, sure, no.
Just like Murray Franklin right now.
No, I'm good. But what do you guys think? Let's start the conversation below. What are your guys' thoughts? Did you love the movie? Did you not like it? Did you feel a certain way coming out of it? Did you want to see it again?
Did it
never
make
want
you
to see it
relive
again?
your childhood trauma? What happened there? Like let's dig deep, you guys.
Yeah, so let's start the conversation below. Also,
Let's get
like,
personal.
subscribe, do all those
Yeah,
great
like,
things.
I just want long letters, just long fan mail about the movie.
Here's
I
why
mean-
I'm fucked up.
I mean, if you want
That's
to,
what I
I will read it, and depending upon what you say, I will comment.
And just put your initials on it, like TW or whatever.
Well,
you
you
want
can
to
do whatever.
Thomas
You
Wayne.
can do whatever you. If your
Lavon.
initials are TW, then
Lavon.
feel free to do
Lavon.
that. But I'm just curious to see what you guys
Maybe
think.
there's a
I think
typo
this
in
movie is
Lavon.
going to be amazing. Do you think Joaquin Phoenix is going to win the Oscar? Do you think he's going to get nominated? Do you think the Joker is going to get nominated? Do you think Todd Phillips is going to get nominated? I think all three are true.
I think so.
Do you think they'll win? I think they'll be in the running. It depends on what other movies come out, but I'll be shocked if all three don't happen.
Like the Phoenix he is, Joaquin is gonna rise from the ashes and snag that Oscar. He's
And
gonna snag it.
and also one more thing, do you guys want this to connect to anything else? There's a lot of rumors now. Todd Phillips is saying, well, maybe we could do another one, and Joaquin is like, well, if Todd wants to do it, maybe. Like, don't do anything. In my opinion, leave it alone. What do you guys think? Do you want to tie into something else, or not necessarily tie into something else? Do you just want to see more of this version?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts? Let's start the conversation below. But until next time, I'm Sean.
I'm Alex.
I'm Mina.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Put a smile on your face.